Welcome to Chat and Chai with moi, your host, Karishma Bazday. This is the space where we aim to empower and inspire women through other women's stories. So if that sounds like your vibe, then girl, you found your tribe. Grab your cup of chai, sit back and relax, and get ready to be inspired. My guest today is someone who has had a deep impact in my life. She is a profound intuitive, amongst other things, and she has helped guide me through so many aspects of my life. She is a treasured soul in my life, and I cannot wait to sit in conversation with her and share her magic with all of you. So without further ado, I introduce you to Alida Haarhoff. Alida, welcome to Chat and Chai. It is such a privilege to have you here. Thank you for your time, and it's so special because you helped bring this project to life. Literally, you have been my biggest guide into birthing this baby into the world, so thank you.
Thank you for having me, Karishma. I really feel honored to be here, and I feel honored to be a part of your life.
And it's been a journey, right? We've been talking about this for a while in our sessions.
We have for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's so great to see the fruition of everything coming to life. Very impressed.
Is that something that's always wonderful for you to witness with all your clients? To see something that you've talked about or worked on come to life?
Absolutely. You know, part of what I do is co-creating with other people. It's a manifestation process. Mm-hmm. And to see the end result or the continuous result of the manifestation is one of the things I really enjoy about what I'm doing.
Okay, so let's take it back to the beginning, because I know you for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 8-9 years now, I want to say. Maybe
if
even
not
10.
longer.
If not longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my beautiful audience doesn't know you. So let's give them a little bit of an insight. And I want to start at the beginning. Like, how did you discover that you were clairvoyant or intuitive?
Yeah, I get asked that question quite a lot. First of all, I was brought up in a very Christian Afrikaans traditional household where none of this is really being spoken about,
right,
or made visible for you. So I had always had a good intuition, and I thought everybody has that as well. And I do believe that everybody has got intuition. It's not that at all, but I was kind of very good at spotting some test. I would know what the test would be like, and that was kind of, but I thought that was just what it is, or I would look at a person and I would just know, an instant knowing, you know. But I think my journey started when I wanted to fall pregnant. So I was in my 20s, and I really wanted to fall pregnant, but I could see my little girl, but the medical field told me that my chances of conceiving my own child is not really good. So I had like a 10% chance. They gave me that as an option. And I then went through the infertility treatment for 5 years. I did really tried everything with my husband at that time, because I really wanted a child. Right. And also I couldn't understand, because every time it came back negative. But I could see in my mind's eye, I could see my little girl, you know.
Right.
So then I gave it up after 5 years, and after several times of it not working. And intuitively, I also probably knew that from the beginning, because I used to say, you know, it's me and my husband at that time and the doctor, you know, making a baby, and it didn't really sit well with me.
Right.
And but then I walked into a psychic's office one day, and that's when my journey, my spiritual journey, I've always been in self-development, but my spiritual journey really started there in terms of my gifts.
Right.
And she was saying to me, oh, but you are going to have a little girl, I see her. And I'm going like, how do you see that? I see her too, but how?
Exactly.
I now need to know more. This really, you know, just interests me. And then she pulled out a couple of cards, and I got really interested in how they could actually read these cards and how they could say to me, because then I went to another tarot reader, because then I was like, oh gosh, I need to find out more. It really just pulled me.
Right.
And then I thought, oh, no, I want to learn how to read cards, okay? Because I want to see how they are can tell me that I'm going to have a baby in the cards.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then what I did is I went on a tarot course, and I did the first course, I did the second course, came very natural to me. It was like I picked up the cards and it just kind of like really, it really just, made sense. And I did a reading for my husband at that time, and it's like 6 weeks from now, it says I'm going to fall pregnant. That's what I saw in the cards. And 6 weeks from then, I was pregnant.
What?
So, and then from there on, I just realized that what my feelings and my intuition was, I could really bring forth with working with tools like the cards, and also that I do have a bit of a skill in that department.
What was your husband's reaction to that? Because this was it also new to him? Or did he also know that you had these gifts and you were kind of working?
No, he knew, because we ran a business together, and I would run it very intuitively.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the people,
Right.
It's like I would go like, we can employ this person or not. So
Right.
there was a knowing, but then of course my passion was ignited, and I started doing more of that work, because that is what I really felt like I could contribute to other people.
So that was going to be my next question. Like, what was the moment that made you realize that you need to work in this field and make this kind of your full-time career?
So my passion is helping other people.
Right.
And I feel a sense of achievement, and not achievement, but a sense of purpose. It's my purpose to help other people. And that is basically what I did by using the cards, starting off with using the cards.
Right.
But yeah, it was more about, it doesn't matter in which way I do it, my basic desire is to help another person.
Right. How have you, over the years, kind of worked to hone or refine your abilities?
It is it is also a skill. Intuition is like a skill, and like I say, everybody has got that. But the more you trust it and the more you work with it, the stronger that it's almost like a muscle, an energy muscle,
Right.
develops. So doing intuitive work every day strengthens the intuitive muscle for sure.
Okay.
And then there's certain principles like meditation, being still, yoga. There's other avenues of helping with that skill, but basically it is trusting your intuition and working with it every day. And the thing with intuition is that if you trust it, you don't always know, but if you don't trust it, you do know. So,
Wow.
if you say you drive and that little voice says to you, okay, slow down, slow down, slow down. And you slow down and you don't actually know what would have been the result if you didn't slow down.
Right.
But if you don't slow down, how often have people said like, I should have listened to this.
Exactly.
I should have listened to that.
Exactly.
So first of all, it's about listening to yourself, listening to that voice, and then trusting that voice.
Alida, your work requires so much of you energetically. So what do you do at the end of the day to refill your cup?
So it's a busy life being a mother of two as well.
Yes.
But I enjoy nature. I enjoy walking in nature. I enjoy swimming in the sea. I enjoy sitting down with my children. Oh, they're not young. They're not little children anymore.
Right.
They're now older. But I enjoy spending time with them. And I enjoy spending time with my friends, taking me out of the environment of always helping, but just being just being with other people. I do enjoy that.
And life is crazy and busy, and like you're a mom of two, and you know, being a mother, things hardly ever go as you plan it to. So do you feel the effects of that if you are not able at the end of the day to kind of do something for yourself, or do you make it a priority?
It's something I'm working on.
Right. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yeah, it is really, the older you get, the older I get, the more I realize the value of that. So I wish I knew now what I knew 10 years ago about self-care, especially if you're a young mother with lots to do with the little children. So it is really important, and I'm really more aware of it now. But it's still a work in progress for me.
Right. So what you're really telling me is that it actually doesn't get easier as they get older.
It does get easier.
Okay.
It does get easier. It gets easier with your time.
Right, of course.
But there's always, there's always that extension of your walking around, and there's always the mother heart that cares. So, you'll always be there, but it does get easier. Yeah, for me, it did.
Have you faced any prejudice when it comes to your gifts?
Especially in the beginning of my work. Like I say, coming from a Christian tradition, it's not really celebrated. So what I do is not really celebrated in my family. So I had to actually really come to terms with that, because what I can help you with is between you and me.
Right.
It's not for others. I really had to work on that. So in the beginning, I was a little bit fearful of doing that just because of the prejudice. And for the absolutely knowing that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm here to guide and help, And now it's so much better. It's actually so much better. I don't really face that much anymore, but I don't think I surround myself with people that will judge me for what I do.
Right. You've learned to pull in your tribe.
I have.
Right.
I think it's very, very important to align yourself with the right people so that you can do what you're meant to be doing and you can feel good while doing it.
It is quite challenging though when it comes to family, right? Because we all feel that, I suppose, innate call or pull to have our family close, but it's so difficult if they don't see you for who you are and who you are meant to be in this world. How does one navigate that from your experience, from working with others?
So I go back to love. There's deep love in my family, and that is the basis and the cornerstone of our relationship. And do I need more than that? Right. No, not really. I do find my recognition and my value with my people, with my clients.
Right. So it's almost separating, like I can get love from you as my family, but I don't need you to see me for all that I am, because I can get that from my tribe that I've chosen to be a part of my life.
Exactly.
I think that's really a beautiful way of looking at it. Okay, so this for me is an interesting question, and I think something I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. How does your gifts affect your relationships with others, but like more closer to home with your husband or your partner or your children? I mean, do you just walk around going, like you just see right through? I mean, that must be difficult. I mean, I would hate it if my mother was like just knew exactly, like,
So, first of all, I don't have a relationship. Makes it so much easier.
Okay.
And secondly, it's different when you work with other people and you in tune and you enhance your gift to help them, but you still have you have a daily life, and your life is just certain things that you have to do. And yes, there's the warning signals here, but when you have children, I'm still the mother. I'm still going to be wrong many times.
Right.
So it doesn't really affect my life, because I also don't walk around trying to tune in to what is all the time. I don't, I do that separate from where I am. So yes, my children do love to come to me for guidance. They do, and they do speak a lot about their emotions, and I encourage them to do so. And yeah, for the relationships one-on-one, yeah, no, I'm not. It's easier if you have what I have to not be in a relationship than to actually be in a relationship, because you're so absorbent of another person's energy. So you have to be very specific. And I've also learned that, you know, over the years, is to rather have my own space and be able to go and do the work and come back and still have my own space. Yeah.
So was that challenging for you in your marriage?
And my marriage, there was a lot of challenges.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How has divorce affected your life or impacted your life? You know, it's such a taboo thing, and there's so much stigma attached around divorce. But I mean, I think I've learned working with you that sometimes relationships end and they run their course, and that's okay. You know. So how has it impacted your life?
Hugely, because being a single mother is not easy. Yeah. It has impacted my life. I draw a lot of divorced women to me that needs guidance. I really feel that there is an avenue out there for women that need support.
Definitely.
You know, especially there is so many divorces happening now at this moment in time. I feel that people have a choice and options these days, and maybe which wasn't previously.
Right.
So yeah, it's tricky navigating life on your own, especially I'm like 100% mum, so I'm there most of the times with my kids. But it's life, and there also comes support from other levels. You know, there's the friends that step up. I don't believe it's that ending of a relationship is what do you call a mislukking?
Tragedy?
Tragedy or failure.
Right.
Failure. So I don't believe that. I believe that if your time is up with someone, your time is up, and it's more a failure to stay in that relationship, trying to and not being able to grow. So I do believe that if you can't grow in a relationship any longer, then you must really have a look at it to see why and what is the best choice for yourself and for your own growth.
I think that's so important, because so many people do see it as a failure, and they kind of walk around with this crutch. They have, you know, I've got divorced, this didn't work out. But I look at it just like you, it's this liberation, and how wonderful, like you said, in this day and age, that women feel like they have more choice, more autonomy over their own decisions and their own lives, to be able to say, this is not serving me anymore, and I can walk away from this because I deserve something better. You know, and I think that is so beautiful and that is so powerful. But I think it's still hard for a lot of women to escape that stigma.
It is difficult. It is so difficult. It is difficult having the courage to walk away from a relationship. And interestingly enough, it's more women that actually want the divorce than the men. So it's 70%, I think, or 75% of the initiated divorce it comes from women, more so than men. So yes, I do think that it is not as bad, the stigma, as what it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago, because I do think that there are so many people that's making their choices, and I do believe that, first of all, stick to that. And a marriage, I do believe a marriage is sacred. So I still have that belief, and I believe, and if somebody would come to me, I'd first see if they can make it work in their relationship before guiding somewhere else. But yeah, I suppose I think it's going to shift perspectives as it continues, because I think that the dynamics of relationship is changing between people fast, and yeah, I think we're going to have to adjust our consciousness around that.
Yeah, definitely. How has motherhood changed you and changed your life, and how does it continue to change you? I think I'm very curious, me having a little baby and you having older kids, like how does that continue to evolve?
Sure, it's a journey. It's the best journey of my life.
How?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay. So it's been a journey for me. Motherhood has changed my life. It's changed me as a person. Like I said, it's changed my career. Motherhood changed my career, because if it wasn't that I started asking the questions, I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing now. You know, I've got two beautiful daughters. They are. They're with me most of the times. 19 and 17 now.
Wow.
And my 19-year-old is also studying drama at the moment. Actually, we do want to become a drama actress as well. It's been very challenging because my eldest daughter has got a skin disease.
Okay.
Which has been quite debilitating. So we haven't found a cure for that yet. So it impacts her life, it impacts our lives. You know, it is on her skin. It's called a skin condition called Darius skin disease.
Okay.
And it can only be managed, they say.
Okay.
And it affects her because she can't really go out every day just performing normally like other kids.
Wow.
And so we always have to manage the skin.
Has this been a whole life?
From about 14 onwards.
Wow.
So every morning we wake up and we go, okay, how's the skin going to be?
Wow.
And apart from that, she's extremely positive. And for I think for a 14-year-old to have been dealt that, she has really shined through that.
Wow.
But yeah, it has been challenging. And the reason why I'm so emotional is because it was very challenging this morning before I came here. So it's really difficult to sometimes just, you know, for her just to be, because the skin condition is also really, it's sore. Apart from the fact that it's there and everybody can see it, it's also really, really sore. You know, so it's a lot of pain associated with. People don't normally see that when you have a condition like that, you know.
No, and you know, I don't know too much about her condition, but as someone who lives with psoriasis, you know, I feel that so deeply, because it's taken away so much from my life because there's so much focus on this thing.
Absolutely.
On this one thing, you know, and someone who is in the limelight, you know, it's horrible, you know, because I'm always conscious, oh my gosh, is the makeup artist, you know, feeling the roughness of my skin, and you know, is it showing, or you know, where is it going to flare up?
Exactly.
Next, you know, and the other day there was like, I felt a little bit coming on, I was like, please God, no. Like, you know, at the back of the ear is fine, or wherever, because, you know, I can hide it with my hair. But if it's, you know, somewhere so visible, it's like, this is how I present myself to the world. This is how I earn my living. This is part of my calling. And this is something that's blocking that every single day. And it is so challenging to deal with that. And you're right, people don't also think about the pain and the discomfort attached with it, because there are times where it's absolutely fine, like today my psoriasis, and there are times where it's just gashes and bleeding and, you know, really, really, really bad. I think it's really something challenging to go through.
It is, especially like you're saying, you know, she wants to be in the limelight as well, and she's a pretty good actress, but it's that constant worry about the appearance and and how are you going to cover it up, or how are you going to, you know, or how's the pain going to be today?
Right.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But it's also something that so with everything else, it is, for me, I see life as, if you have been dealt that, then there is something that you have to learn from this.
I was just going to say that. And I think it's, you know, it's interesting, like, you know, she wants to be an actor and she wants to, you know, perform and be in front of on this big stage like myself. And I'm like, why are both of us being given, you know, this challenge that is almost stopping us from living our purpose? But there has to be some lessons in that. Or, you know, maybe for me, it's a constant reminder that I'm not just my physical. You know, it's not the only thing that I have to bring to the table.
Exactly.
As a performer. And it also connects me to my vulnerability and my humanity, which I think sometimes can be taken away from you really fast in my industry.
Exactly. Well put.
So maybe those are the gifts that we have to take away, you know, from this. And I think every experience just makes you a better actor, because she's going to be able to access so much more.
Exactly.
Than someone who does not have to deal with this.
Yes.
On a daily basis. And it's so hard when you're in it, and especially when as young as she is, to look at it, you know, from this perspective. But in time she will. And I trust that, and I believe that 100%.
Yeah, so the gifts in a condition like that, or any condition that that you have to overcome, I think it's about the empathy, I think it's about the understanding and the gift of understanding others, you know. Like you say, it's so easy to be in the world of entertainment, to, if everything goes well and everything looks perfect,
right?
It's so easy to become trapped in that.
Yes.
But if the heart stays open and vulnerable, I think there's so much more to give.
So much more to give, you know, you're so much more anchored in everything. And the world needs more of that. They don't need more perfection.
Yep.
You know, and I'm on this pedestal. They need people who are in the limelight, but who are relatable.
Exactly.
And who are vulnerable.
And the world is not perfect.
Exactly.
Nothing is perfect.
No.
So we have to look at the bumps. We have to look at these things that we think makes our world not perfect.
Exactly. And let those aspects shine. You know. Alida, how have each of your daughters impacted your life? What has each of them individually brought to you?
They're such different characters. My eldest has taught me a lot in terms of her big heart, you know. She's got an amazing heart. She has got she will walk next to somebody, and if they would need something, she'll give them their shoes, her shoes,
wow.
to give back to them. So she's definitely taught me empathy, and she's taught me patience. Okay, which I'm still working on.
You and me both. You know that. You know that.
So a lot of patience, especially with the condition that she has, and also she's taught me to accept challenges gracefully, because I think that at her age she has really coped well with what she's been dealt with, and gratitude. And my youngest, she has taught me boundaries, really, because she's so good with her boundaries.
Wow.
That I stand in awe, going like, okay, well, you know, I need to have more of those in place, you know. So she's a very creative soul, so I'm in awe with her creativity. What else has she taught me? And she taught laughter, fun. There's a lot of laughter and a lot of joy.
Wow.
Coming from her.
Right. I love hearing how everyone's children has impacted their lives in different ways, and especially when people have multiple children, how each of them are so different, and they bring something so specific to your life. So let's talk a bit about that, about like soul contracts and why our children are our biggest teachers, from your point of view, from your work. How does all of that kind of work and align?
So fascinating. And I often say to my children, but you pick me, you know?
Yeah.
Because they do, you know? According to my understanding, according to my channels, according to the work that I do, it's very specific, the person that you pick is your mom and your dad. Because in the first couple of years, you basically have no control over your circumstances. The two people that do have a control over the circumstances is going to be your mum and your dad.
Right.
Whether they're going to get a divorce, whether they are whether there's going to be a death, whether there's going to be financial troubles, those are in the control and the environment. So when you pick your parents, it's very specific in terms of your evolution as a soul and as your growth. And often it comes with complications, because it's often in the complicated relationships, whether it comes from a mum or whether it comes from a dad, is where we grow the most. So about learning to understand yourself through that, and knowing that your parents is your teachers and vice versa.
Right.
And that we're basically all here to learn. So often people would say, but why did I choose that for a dad? Or
Right.
why did I choose...
Why did I want to bring this upon myself?
Exactly. And then that stems from that, and nobody really has got the answer. We can try and kind of like put it into perspective if we go into past lives, or if we, because very often, especially if we do the numerology, you can actually really look at the chart and you can see, well, this is being clearly set up for a difficult childhood. Clearly. And then if you look at the soul path purpose, you go like, okay, but this is where it fits in. So often it is maybe something in a past life that we haven't completed, or maybe there would be outstanding karma from a soul that we needed to fix in this lifetime. Right. I always say what goes up goes down, so we have to feel it both ways. So even if you're in a relationship with a very narcissistic mother, then it could have been that relationship you've experienced it yourself in a previous life. It could have been. So it's all about balancing and growing. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely. And what you offer, would it be beneficial? Have you worked with young mothers, parents, to navigate certain situations within their families and their children?
Yes, I have. As a part of my work is the family constellation work, like I think if you understand something and you have got an understanding of a situation, it just makes it so much better for the parent. So I'm going to give you an example. I had a mother coming in a couple of years ago. I work with mothers daily, and probably because I'm a mother myself, and probably because I have the intuitiveness around that. But I had this mother coming in, and
I have to stop myself from like sending you a message all the time. It's like, Alida, can you just look in and see if what's going on here? Because it's so wonderful to have that, in our sessions and the family constellation. It's been so transformative. So I just wanted to say I have to stop myself often from sending you a little message. Can you just have a look-see and see,
Yeah, it's basically more about understanding. So I had this woman coming in, a lady, mum, and she was really struggling with her son. She was a surfer. Okay. So she, and her son was 6, I think, at that stage. Yeah. But she wanted to get him in the water. And he wouldn't go in the water, but I didn't know that. All I know is that when she came in, I was looking at her son, I was looking at her. I actually didn't really know that she was a surfer. I think it might have come up the first time. And I said to her, listen here, without me knowing anything, I said to her, listen here, your son is going to be afraid of water because he drowned in a past life. So please do not force him in the water. And then she just went white. And she looked at me and she says to me, I'm a surfer. I need to be in the water. My son keeps on throwing stones at the water. He doesn't want to come in. I have been so angry with him because I wanted to drag him in the water. I can't understand why he doesn't want to swim, as it is my biggest passion.
Oh my gosh.
And then I saw her in the local mall about 4 or 5 weeks after that, and she just said to me, it is so much better between her, because she's now understanding that she is here to teach him to get back into the water. Because obviously, why would he have chosen a mother with the water if he has to heal his experience from his previous life?
Wow.
But on his time.
Exactly.
When he's ready. So those little insights, those little inputs, whether it's from a past life, whether it's from what is your child feeling at this moment,
Or what is their sole purpose?
Or what is their sole purpose? How do you guide your children? And your little Isla is not going to take and do the same as how I would guide my own children.
Exactly.
Because they are all so different. And I think that is what we've got to understand. But yes, so it's so interesting how it works.
And okay, so I want to talk a bit about family constellation because it's been huge in my life. Almost borderline addicted to them. Every month that I can't go, I'm like, gal, can you make a plan to not be at work? So, but it's just, you just create such a beautiful space, and we've got such a cool team.
We do have a cool team.
I just feel like you're like coming home when you walk into that space and everyone's like hugging and kissing, and we're so excited to do the work, that we're going to do. So it's always so lovely. Talk us through family constellation. It's sometimes hard for me to explain to viewers or whoever I'm talking to exactly how it works, even though I've had so much experience around it. But I'd love for you to explain what it is and how we work.
Thanks. And it is difficult to explain the concept really, because you actually have to feel the concept, you know. So the reality is as we explain and we put it into words, it never really, you can't really put it into words until you've experienced it, until that first time that you're a representation. But the family constellation therapy was discovered by Bert Hellinger probably about 20 odd years ago, and he actually came to Cape Town, and he was a psychotherapist. He came to Cape Town and he started working with our tribe and started looking at the ancestral lineage and how the patterns from the ancestral lineage gets paid forward into our own systems that we work in.
Right.
So it comes from the idea that it's 7 generations back from your mom's side of the family and 7 generations back from your dad's side of the family. 7 sins of the forefathers.
Right.
Right. And then the reason why we would take on a pattern is a sense of loyalty to our family tribe, a sense of connection, sense of belonging, because all of us want to belong, which is very often the case in that you would take a pattern on from an abusive father, maybe, and then also become the abuser, or also
be attracted to abuse.
To abuse, because the loyalty, unconscious loyalty, because it's a very often unconscious loyalty that would sit there, and out of love, So the whole system, family constellation, is derived from love, and is based on empathy. And so basically, what we do is that we then live our lives, and we continue certain patterns that actually really do not belong to us. It belongs to, it could be to one of our ancestors. And the research have shown that emotional DNA gets transferred as much as what physical DNA gets transferred.
Wow.
So our emotional beings, and that's often why there is also depressiveness or suicide or addiction. That is, it's stemming, and it's normally in the system,
Wow.
So basically what we do then is we figure out in the constellation what it is that you are carrying that does not belong to you.
Right.
Sometimes we're so entrenched in the pattern, we don't know that we are carrying it. But we see the results. Like, you would always be pulling abusive men to you.
Self-sabotage.
There's so many avenues that it can go. And you would want to shift it, but it's so entrenched in your family dynamics, in your system, in your little matrix, because we call the constellation field, we call it the morphogenic field, right? And that is where the ancestral is, and then there's a perpetrator that could come in. There is other people that could actually join your field. Right. And then it is about identifying that, and gently and kindly, with honoring. There's always an honor that goes alongside to our ancestral lineage. And with honor and love, we give it back, and we shift the field. And people often would report, and because it's a system that you get other people to represent parts of your family or parts of your patterns that do not know you. They don't know you, and you've experienced this. It's very powerful because it's not scripted or anything. You sit, we have a conversation, you pick a couple of people, they come up, and all of a sudden they show you those aspects of your mother wound, or they show you the aspects of the father wound,
and no one could have known.
Nobody could have known, but you, the person that's sitting there, resonates so deeply. So you have an opening of yourself, because you also choose somebody to represent you. And I think that's where the blind spot is, because you're sitting back and somebody else is representing you, which is actually just helping to show you what it is that's missing, and in your system, or what it is that we need to shift. And then we gently shift it through energy and through healing sentences. As you experience the field yourself, there's sometimes like a cold wave, there's sometimes heat, there's sometimes a lot of joy, there's a lot of grief, anger.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's magic in the making, and we give it back, we settle it back to the ancestor who it belongs to, which is normally very happy to take it back.
Right.
Okay, it's us that chooses to take it on because of our loyalty to the system. The ancestor very happy to take it back and freeing yourself, and then the result is often a freeing of yourself, as you would have experienced a lightness, an understanding, people often would say, you know, or just a general lightness. And because it's a ripple effect, because we've helped the family lineage, it often ripples through to the rest of the family too, on a very subconscious level. And the reason why I started doing family constellation therapy was because I wanted my children not to carry the patterns. So that's how I got involved. So you basically, as a parent, would want to clear some of this up, put it back into the correct, back to the correct ancestor if it belongs there, so that you can clear for your children.
And it's been such powerful work. And when you see those shifts, I mean, I remember once we constellated with Isla, or for her.
Yes.
And I mean, she woke up saying the words that came up in that constellation. I remember sending you a message going, Alida, this is radical, because she wasn't there. She doesn't know what happened.
Exactly.
And obviously all of this had shifted in her overnight, you know, and she woke up speaking the exact thing that we said in that constellation, and her energy shifted and the relationships transformed. It was just, you know, I mean, that was just really huge for me.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I've seen so many shifts in my own life. You know, Gail's experienced it, someone who is probably way more skeptical than I am. But even he walked out of there going like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know, it's impossible not to feel.
Yes.
And for it not to be tangible.
Yes.
And the shifts not to be tangible. So it's so powerful. I wish everyone, you know, could experience it, because it is just so powerful.
It is powerful. And with that gift that you gave Isla, I mean, what an amazing gift to help her with her relationships. How old was she? 2?
2.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know, and to allow her to be free and not carrying what we could clearly see she was already starting to carry.
Exactly.
In that constellation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really believe but it's also the constellation work are really picking up for a lot of people. So there's many people that is doing it now. So and the other thing that I also like to do is I like to do business constellations.
Yes.
Because it's such a phenomenal way to see where your business is at. So you can put any blockages in your business and say, okay, well, is it you that's the problem, or is it the actual product that you have? You know, that's also, so people, you don't have to just do family constellation as such. I constellated my home to sell. And I did in a week after that.
Wow. Well, we constellated Chat and Chai.
We did.
We did. That was our last one that we did. You know, and it was really around the fact that, you know, me being such a creative, I never saw myself as a businesswoman as such to kind of put something like this together and launch it. And, you know, there's many phases to Chat and Chai, which you'll find out soon enough. But it was such a big shift, and what came up was so interesting because it was something that I would never have thought of.
Absolutely. And I remember in that constellation, the loyalty to your dad.
Right.
And the fact that your dad is such a good businessman, but you creative in your business. And he is more consistent and
structured.
And
old school kind of,
So the loyalty there, we needed to kind of like just clear it out, that you can do your business according to your way and not have that subconscious loyalty to the old way, which is not your way,
And it was so emotional in so many ways because I love my dad. He's like my end all and be all, and I know he only wants the best for me, but
Absolutely.
It was this unconscious, subliminal kind of thing that was holding me back in a way, and we shifted that and it was immediately just so much freedom.
Yes.
It brought back so much joy, to this project, that I was working on. So it does work. So, my brothers love to constellate with you on business stuff. My brother's super skeptical, like really. And he just thought it was such a wonderful experience and shifted so much for him and gave him so much clarity.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You can go in with, we have two types of constellations.
Right.
We have one which is open-ended because it is just, it shows it what it is, right? What you do with it is up to you.
Right.
And then we have ones where we can actually, where the energy is moving and where there is a need to give back and heal. But there's basically and so even just to go and constellate something where you are not too sure about, we've done a constellation before where, should I go to Australia? Should I go to America? What is the obstacles? Or should I stay here? Or is there a third obstacle? It just gives you don't have to make an immediate choice, but it gives you a clear clarity about maybe not, or maybe the time is not right.
Because sometimes you're also so close and so caught up in something, and that constellation literally gives you that moment of stepping out of your own life, but still witnessing it,
exactly
unravel in front of you, and that brings so much clarity.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. Let's talk a bit about intuitive coaching. Because I have worked with you for so many years and I've loved all our journeys together, but I recently started working with you as an intuitive coach, and it's been a game changer. It's been
Thank you.
Such a game changer. The shifts that have just happened, like immediately, remember the first session was like all about time. And literally I walked out of that room and just created this immense amount of time for myself, just like that. And yet this was something that was holding me back, and I was so stuck within my life for like the past 2 years. It was just like this torturous thing, that was following me around. And just one session with you was just like, poof, okay, I have time now. Now what, universe? What
that.
next? So talk to me about how does intuitive coaching work for those that don't know, and why and how is it so effective?
The intuitive coaching it's more about what you need specifically, because I work with you as a soul. It's not a program as such, like this is what you should do, this is what you should do, A leads to B, leads to C. It's more about, okay, let's have a look at, I use numerology, I often use the cards, and I use energy as well, because I can play with energy a bit. And we go in and we'll see, okay, where is it that you are stuck? And we try to figure out why and how to shift that for you. In your case, it was the time that seemed to just kept you back, But there's other avenues as well. There could be a self-belief, or it could be a self-sabotage that you're doing. And then it might take one session. I think we've worked together for so long now that our energies are so aligned, that it just it happens as we speak, But for somebody that's new to intuition, I think it's about, maybe people might want a program to work according, but I think it's about understanding that we work according to your program.
Right.
Your internal clock, and where you're ready energetically to shift. And then we looked at ways, how to implement. Yeah, so there is the implementation of that, which we can't avoid.
Right.
Because if you want to create shifts, you're going to have to also just go out there.
But I think what's a game changer with that implementation compared to just like, I don't know, some sort of different coaching was that for the first time, it was so tailor-made to me.
Yes.
It was like, so Karishma, this is what you can walk out of here and do today. And we worked with multiple, options. And I was like, no, Alida, no, yes, maybe. And, we delved more into that. But it was actionable immediately. And that was the game changer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the here and now. And I firmly believe that we don't have time to waste.
Right.
At this stage, at this day and age, we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait 5 years for something to happen in our lives.
No.
We do it now, We collapse the field, we go in there. So yes, if you know exactly where your blockage is, if we can get to where your blockage is, because that's the aim of the game.
Right.
And then we bring it up, and then it's your choice. What are you going to do with this? Because it's now for you to witness, So there is still work on the other person's side. But yes, it is. It's in the here and the now, and tailor-made to you, your specific blockage. Your specific blockage to time might not be my specific blockage to time, So we've got to figure out why, and that's why I love the intuitive coaching, and that's why I love the subject intuition, because it's just so exciting that you could use something that's already gifted to you as you were born into this world to make your life easier.
And I've loved the insight it's given me into my life. I think that's been my biggest addiction to working with you is the insight, because I think it's so powerful to have insight to who you are as a human, your purpose in this world, and how do you make decisions and choices accordingly, to this that can really radically change and impact your life in either way. And I think a lot of people don't have that, or don't feel the need to have that. And I'm so addicted to that because it's transformed my life. So I've loved working with you in that kind of field, and I'm interested to know, how do you access that? Do you have your own specific coaches and people that you go to that have helped you navigate your life, or do you rely solely on your gifts to work with yourself?
I rely a lot on my gifts. I rely a lot on my own intuition. That's also the other thing about going back to the trust of your own intuition. We all need help. So I do have one or two people that I really trust in terms of the same work that I do, that we would often I would do some work for them and they would do some work for me when I need it. When I really need that. And then I also do have, I believe you can't be in the development of self-development if you don't go out there and you go and develop yourself on any other level. And we have got so much to learn from other coaches and other healers. So I go out and I make sure that I get help on every single level that I can when I feel I need to. So it's not a continuous thing, but when I feel the need that I have to do it, or there's something specifically that comes up for me, I would go and I would make sure that I work on it, with other people as well.
Have you constellated for yourself?
Yes.
In other spaces?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you always hold space so beautifully for us, and you're like, I just thought about it now. You never get a chance to be in there and constellate.
Yeah, it's difficult because you're always on the other side.
Exactly.
But there's a group that it's a couple of constellators that we can go and constellate.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Alida, it's been such a joy to chat with you like this, and I know we can go on and on and on. It's just so fascinating always chatting to you and the work that you do, and thank you for being such a beautiful guide in my life. I mean, I'm emotional now because you really have been in so many ways, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed in this lifetime. in the most random ways at a festival.
Had to be in a
Of
tent.
all places, in this random tent, and I'm so curious, and obviously I was like, "Oh, tarot reading, yes," and I'll never forget the first thing that you asked me was like, "Are you trying to get pregnant?" And at that time I was so not, in no way, shape, or form, and you're like, "Oh, there's a soul waiting for you," and I was like, "Sure, Alida, okay," and there was. And there was.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for your light in my life. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for sharing your magical life with me and making me part of it. I really, really appreciate it and value you too.
So much love for you.
Wow, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to that episode as much as I did. I just love diving deep into these conversations with incredible women. If this podcast meant something to you, then you can do 2 things for us. You can please give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. This is really the best way to help support the podcast and help us to grow. And secondly, you can go and follow us on Instagram at Chat and Chai. We really do share some incredible content on there that really adds value to your life, I hope. And we love engaging with our Chat and Chai tribe. So give us a follow and let's connect over Instagram. Much love from my heart to yours. Until our next Chat and Chai.